Carnivores.
Carnivores.
Carnivores Dinosaur.
Carnivores, man. That game was childhood defining.
It all started when I was reasonably small, and I was with my grandparents, and we were just out eating at a restaurant, and of course I was little and I was into dinosaurs at that time. Of course, me being little, I said what probably every dinosaur lover has said at least once in their life, I said to my grandfather who was next to me, "Man, I wish dinosaurs were still around and everything." And then he was like, "Oh, really? Remind me when we get home and I'll show you something." Okay, so some time goes by, we get back home, and he pulls out his copy of Carnivores, the original Carnivores, off of the shelf that they had. And yeah, we popped it in, and yeah, rest is history. Happy anniversary, Carnivores.
Carnivores has been sort of a staple in my childhood. It's one of those things that kept me from getting bored, and my favorite thing to do with the game is to simply watch the dinosaurs in observer mode. The lore is just my favorite aspect of the game, and the extended canon mods along with the Tatum canon just help bring that to life. It's just so fun to think about the world of Carnivores, which is why I just love watching Saurian Target's channel and playing the mods. Who would have thought that a game with simple gameplay can bring a community this big? Carnivores has been very special, for me anyways, which began with the mobile port, Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter. I was skeptical at first, but as days went by, I fell in love with it, primarily because of the roster of huntable specimens, like the Parasaurolophus or the infamous T-Rex. Not so much for the new additions like Amargasaurus or Utah Raptor. It wasn't aiming for scientific accuracy that the real things were here on Earth, and that's the point, as these creatures are from an alien planet. With modded games focusing on expanding the lore, it got me invested to learn more, as well as learn the importance of these indigenous creatures in their unique ecosystem.
Hey everyone, this is Jake, or Raptor Claw. And for me, Carnivores has been a very big part of my life. I remember getting it as a Christmas present in 2003, and for being such a minimalistic game, it inspired me so much. And modding the game really did a lot for me, especially for my personality, because I got excited when people actually looked forward to my creations. And even now, people look forward to the stuff I make, and that really helps me a lot because it shows that I'm making people happy with the stuff I make, and this is translated over into my real life. So I owe the game a huge amount of thanks for helping my personality blossom.
I started playing Carnivores when I was 6 years old. I picked up the first game from a Menards hardware store of all places. It was a dinosaur game, and naturally, dinosaurs were my obsession at that point, and still are, quite frankly, so I couldn't resist. I was blown away by the dinosaurs in the game at the time. I remember the first time I got attacked and killed by an Allosaurus, and it scared the crap out of me. I also remember when I finally took down my favorite dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, for the first time. My copy of the game unfortunately got worn down to being unplayable when I was 12, so I had to trash it, unfortunately. I didn't think about the games for years, until I was in high school. I then discovered Dinosaur Hunter and Ice Age through the Apple Store, and immediately fell in love with the games all over again. I still occasionally play those games to this day, and hope that the PC port of Dinosaur Hunter comes out soon. Well, it's just that Carnivores pops out from other dinosaur games. The style is unique and has nice detail to the models. Dinosaurs have been my hobby ever since I was 3. My first experience was fantastic. Seeing the AI and how they reacted when I got close to them was nice. As for the hunting experience, hunting these alien prehistoric creatures was better than any other hunting game I've ever played at the time. Just deer and bears? Boring. We have alien dinosaurs. I loved Carnivores Ice Age as well, a nice change to the Carnivore series. When I got up to the T-Rex, I was like, oh boy, here we go. We're hunting the big boys. When you're hunting, it gets your blood pumping. All I have to say is, keep going, Carnivores.
Hey, this is J-Virus here. In late 2017, after seeing a lot of yours truly's videos, I wanted to help expand the lore of the Carnivores universe. So I began writing a bunch of articles to the Carnivores Atlas and updating the information there. In January 2018, I got a message from a guy called Pan. He was working on moving the Atlas articles over to the Carnivores Gamepedia, and he wanted me to join a Discord server to help him out. I joined, and since then I have met such wonderful people and friends there. So the most special part about Carnivores, to me, is its community. And I would like to thank everyone who is part of it for how great my past year has been with you. Thank you, and praise the freak.
My first experience with Carnivores was probably through the mobile version. I remember having a great time exploring the map and speculating about the story of the abandoned base in Delphius Hills, or the destroyed fort in Fort Siskin. I also remember making a clay figurine of an Allosaurus from the game. For me personally, Carnivores is special because of its world building and great map and creature design. It definitely was, and still is, a revolutionary dinosaur hunting game. I discovered Carnivores with the mobile ports when I was 5. I remember relocating to the big mountain in Fort Siskin to hunt dinosaurs. I couldn't hunt carnivores because of the IAP, but one day I hunted a wild Spinosaurus, and I was super happy. When they added the new dinosaurs and the revolver, I stopped playing. I don't know why. But then, I found the mods. I downloaded Reloaded and Triassic and played a lot. This past week, I downloaded Mandibles, Far North, and Carnivores Plus, and fell in love with them.
Carnivores has been a big part of my life, and ever since I've had a mobile device, I've been playing Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter, only to play even more Carnivores games when I finally got a PC. Of course, when I was younger, I didn't know anything about the lore, creation, style, or even the existence of the other games and mods. But the moment I discovered that the obscure little app game I played still had a talented, active fanbase, the games became something even more special. I've helped run the Google Plus community, made YouTube videos, played over 15 games and mods, and I can safely say that Carnivores is one of the best and most enjoyable video game franchises I've ever come across. And I'd like to thank everyone for making Carnivores fun, expansive, and alive.
To think a game, and a hunting game at that, made in 1998 would still have a living fan base filled with passionate people and brilliant creators still blows my mind to this day. So I would just like to thank everyone, from the casual players and YouTubers to the artists and modders, for making this an unforgettable prehistoric hunting experience. Happy 20th anniversary, everyone! I first played Carnivores way back in my childhood. Specifically, I remember that I played Carnivores 2, Ice Age, and Cityscape, and had a lot of fun with them. Much later on, I then stumbled upon your own videos, which reignited my spark of love for the series. I ended up downloading Triassic back in 2015 or 16 or so, and I've been a part of the community ever since. I've even made minor mod contributions since joining this community, like with the new hunt menu picture for Triassic's revamped Coelophysis. Happy 20th birthday, Carnivores, and here's to 20 more years to come.
Oh god, Carnivores, man, that game was childhood defining. That's my older brother's game, where I would look at it and be too terrified to play it. So instead I just spent my time looking at the cover art. When I finally got around to actually trying out the game, I could barely get past the title screen. When I saw that Velociraptor, I was so sure that at some point it was going to move. Carnivores was that game that you went and you brought the squad in for. You were just going to be a bunch of dudes crowding around a Windows 98 IBM computer getting scared of dinosaurs. In debug mode, of course. But when we finally branched out and played that game for real, oh, that got real crazy. Once I was hunting maybe just some Stegosauruses, saw an Allosaurus off in the distance. I had never before mashed the escape button so frantically trying to get out of that game. Of course, we didn't really know at the time, but the Allosaurus was actually running away from us.
When I started playing this epic game series, I was 12 years old, and I can remember my first hunt. And later on, as I progressed my way through the animals listed, and I looked at the final animal to hunt the king, the unstoppable killing machine, the almighty T-Rex. I literally thought, there is no way that I can bring down this thing. But as my accuracy improved, and it's still getting better, I managed to kill the biggest Rex in the game I could find, and I felt such a relief. But there is more love I have for these games than I can just put into words. My first experience with Carnivores is when my dad showed me a dinosaur mobile game that he was playing because he knew that I loved dinosaurs. After that moment, I started playing Carnivores with him. I remember how we both hated the Spinosaurus more than the T-Rex. In those days, I had a dream where I was on FMM UV32, hunting dinosaurs that weren't yet in the game, like Coelophysis and Carnotaurus, and other creatures like Mosasaurus and an Archelon. After that dream, I wrote an email to Tatum asking if they could add those creatures. I was 6 back then. Years later, the Carnotaurus and Coelophysis were added to the game. Years later, I was checking some Carnivores mods videos, when in my recommendation, I found a particular video, and in that moment, I found one of my favorite YouTube channels. Oh, who's cutting onions in here?
Carnivores 2 was one of the very first PC games I had ever owned, and one of the first hunting games I had ever played. Compared to other video games with a first-person perspective like Doom, Quake, Marathon, and Half-Life, its world felt more natural and a lot more realistic. My most fond memory of the game was when I finally managed to take down a T-Rex, after trying so hard to rack up points to get the best weapons in the game. It was a big achievement for me.
I found Carnivores secondhand at a Goodwill with my dad while looking for Jurassic Park. As soon as we got home, I popped it in my PC, and I was scared by the pop-up box roar. My dad had to set it up for me. I started my first few hunts not knowing what to do, because there were no extra materials included. My first Allosaur hunt freaked me out so much as an Allo ambushed me and tore my guts out. You never forget your first carnivore death. We played for hours. My dad still remembers it as the Dinosaur Hunter game. I'm glad I still have the CD-ROM. Somewhere. I'm glad it's still loved 20 years later. Happy birthday, Carnivores. I never thought I would find a 20-year-old hunting game as something special to me. What makes Carnivore special to me is how the game mixes story with the hunting very well. These days, no one thinks of a hunting game having any kind of story. Carnivores lets you explore these landmarks of past events, making you think and imagine what happened during your absence, leading the minds of players endlessly throughout what actions went down in certain areas. Another thing that makes this game special is the small yet strong community still keeping this game alive. It is amazing that a community formed around this game. People working on mods, art, music, models to keep and carry on the legacy of Carnivores games. I've also met and made new friends with people from the community. I believe what makes Carnivores special lies in both the game and the community around it.
Back when I was around 10 or 11, I found this cool new mobile app called Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter. I joined a game hunting Parasaurolophus with a pistol. I was ambushed by an Allosaurus and complained, "Well, why didn't it just eat that dead Dimetrodon over there?" After a few more tries at hunting, I decided that this game was special. I looked for anything else made by the same people and I found Ice Age on mobile. I was enthralled and I acquired more points than I knew what to do with. Eventually I decided to see if I could get it on my computer and I found the Carnivore Saga. I got a copy of Ice Age on disc for that Christmas, and I grew to love just simple RES editing and MS Paint skinning. I looked up to the legends of the time, the only one remaining now being Poharex. I never thought I'd reach their skill at modding carnivores. If only I could tell my past self how far I've gotten. It's unbelievably humbling to be what I used to look up to. I love providing enjoyable content for you guys. Joining this community has proven a pivotal role in my life, and I can't even begin to express how much I appreciate you all and the connections we've all made, even if sometimes we disagree.
Carnivores, to this day, is still possibly one of my favorite video games in existence. I was first introduced to the series through the mobile port, and yet it's still currently the only one I've played, as my computer can't load it properly, which has left me disappointed that I can't play fan-made creations such as Carnivores Triassic. My favorite memory from playing the game was finally killing a T-Rex, after hours and hours of grinding and work. I've been playing the game for, I don't know how long actually, but I do remember I'd been playing before the Carnotaurus came out. Only recently did I start playing it again, and that is how I came across your channel, which I don't know how I didn't find earlier. I would just like to say thank you for getting me back into this series, and whatever else is to come. You are so welcome. As a child, I had a wild fascination about dinosaurs. I had all sorts of toys and books about them. But then I was introduced to the digital world, and then my interests had disappeared. I was introduced to Garena, Steam, and YouTube. And then I was introduced to this game called Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter. As a curious person, I downloaded it because it made me think about my childhood with dinosaurs. First few minutes into the game, I was already loving it. The dinosaurs, places, and guns were very nice, and I liked the idea of hunting down prehistoric animals. It truly felt like my childhood came back to hit me one more time, and now here we are in 2018. I'm very glad with the updates, and the fact that it was being released on Steam got me all hyped up. I'd really like to thank this game for bringing my interest in dinosaurs back into action. Without it, I probably would have lost interest in dinosaurs by now. I'd also love to thank the people who've put their efforts into creating a masterpiece like this. So here is a toast for a new successful year and the years ahead.
Carnivore games mean a lot to me because it's one of the first dinosaur game that I ever played, and it gives me a lot of memories. It's a very special game. It's one of the in that era, in the 1999, those years, such a game with such good graphics and play quality during that time, it is such a unforgettable experience. And I played it for many years, even before I the Jurassic Park franchise, and I like it a lot because of the unique dinosaurs.
Greetings, fellow Carnivores fans! I go by my nickname, Ricardo Nixon, and I was born and live in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, the cradle of the Carnivores series. This series defined my childhood, and I have been following the games ever since my father got me Carnivores Ice Age in 2002, when I was 5. He got me Carnivores 2 a year later, and these two games are my oldest discs. I could say I grew up with Carnivores. I do admit I didn't get Cityscape because I'm not even sure it's sold here, and I didn't have a PSP to play those ports. So there was a period where I knew little of how the series development went. However, when the mobile ports came out, I followed their development on and off, until I discovered your video, Saurian, which reignited my love for the series. All the lore and mods and gameplay, and all of it compiled into one wonderful YouTube channel. Aw, thanks man. I'm sure I'm not the only one who can express this sentiment. Through your videos, Saurian, I discovered the wonderful and vibrant Carnivores community, and joined it. And despite all the disagreements and conflicts about minor and major things, the Carnivore Saga is still one big dysfunctional family, of which I am proud to be a part of. In the end, Carnivores has always been a huge part of my life, and I'd never trade it for any other series. Happy 20 years old, Carnivores. Here's to many more years of fun and hunting, and thank you for all the fun years. So unlike many people in the community, my first experience with the Carnivores franchise was through the mobile ports. Back when I was in 8th grade, I got an iPad for Christmas, and one of the first games I searched for was a dinosaur game. Carnivores was one of the first things that popped up. I had no idea what it was about just by the photo, so I read the whole title and description and thought it'd be interesting. I started off with the free version to see if I liked it. Obviously, I did, cause it's dinosaur related. And after getting killed too many times by a random Spino, something you can't unlock in the free version, I bought the full version. One of the most vivid memories from playing this game would have to be me, sitting in the Spanish classroom, surrounded by 5 or more of my friends, watching me hunt parasaurs with the crossbow, and we'd laugh at how strange and creepy the models looked. Another memory happened in that same classroom, when I finally unlocked the T-Rex, and one of my friends immediately shouted, "How the are you gonna shoot that thing in the eye?" We'd all take turns trying to bag a Rex, but it always ended in hilarious failure, especially when wearing headphones and hearing it breathe before you could even see it coming. I can't count how many times that made us jump. Eventually, I made it happen, and I filled my trophy room with Rexes and got all the achievements. And I went on to do the same thing in the Ice Age port. I've never really been into games or hunting, but this world was really interesting to me. Not long after getting the games, I started going on YouTube to see if other people had played it. This is when I found out that the games I've been playing are mobile ports, and that the first Carnivores game came out the same year I was born. This is when I started seeing mods and the different stories that people would do. Realizing that there was a whole community to this franchise was awesome. And even years after that, when I found your channel, I saw how passionate you are about this and I love it. I really hope the community stays as active as it has all these years, and that Andrew gets all the support and help and recognition he deserves, because there have been so many improvements thanks to him, so we can continue enjoying this wonderful planet known as FMMUV32. Happy anniversary to the Carnivores series.
Hi Carnivores hunters, it's our own target. My name is Andre and I am developer of Carnivores series. I want to say thank you to all you guys for playing all these years, 20 years right now. It's amazing. So thank you guys for playing it and to help us. So a huge big thank you. I do my best to make a Steam port as soon as possible, but the release date is still when it's done, so you just need to wait.
I first got into Carnivores years back. My older brother was the one to introduce me to the game. I have always had a strange fascination with large reptiles like dinosaurs and mythological creatures like dragons, which was extra prominent in me as a kid. I remember seeing my brother playing something on his phone one day, and curiously plopped down onto the sofa beside him. I asked him what he was doing, and he explained to me that he was playing a game called Carnivores, in which you could hunt various types of dinosaurs. I instantly became interested, and he happily showed me the mechanics of the game on his phone. He talked about all of the different types of dinosaurs you could hunt, and explained which weapons to use based on each hunt. I was always very interested in the carnivorous dinosaurs, but I never dared to actually hunt them. so I pretty much forced my brother to hunt them and show me them instead. We sat like this for quite a while as I watched him play with a keen eye. He let me hunt some of the herbivorous dinosaurs as well. After a while of hunting parasaurs and stegos, however, I got pretty restless and decided that I wanted to try to hunt an actual carnivore. I was very interested in the velociraptor, as they, along with the Utahraptors, have always been my favorite dinosaurs. My brother suggested that I hunt an easier carnivore as my first intermediate hunt. And I, of course, ended up landing on the infamous Allosaurus, like a lot of us did. And similarly to a lot of others' experiences, this absolutely terrified me, as I was incredibly nervous and eventually forgot to check the map when I had the dinosaur tracker activated for just this occasion. I was too afraid to use the dinosaur call button as well, as I didn't want to draw attention to myself, and I eventually got ambushed by an Allosaurus in the flat, tightly wooded area up north by the beach on Delpheus Hills. I remember jumping out of my seat in absolute terror as I heard the classic carnivore screech come loudly from behind me, as the Allosaurus relentlessly jumped on top of my character and tore into him. My brother chuckled to himself and had a smirk on his face showcasing a visible sense of superiority, as he probably already knew this would happen. At first, I was a bit shocked and put off from hunting carnivores again, but I soon tried it a second time, then a third time, and a fourth time, and so on, until eventually I got my first Allosaurus with the same crappy pistol. I was so proud of myself at the time, and my older brother was enthusiastically praising me as well. He probably lost interest at some point though, as we had been sitting there for quite a while at this point. However, since he told me the name of the game, I got my dad to help me install the game on his Samsung phone, which I borrowed all the time from then on. I have since gotten more and more interested in carnivores, and not many days after my initial exposure, decided to get an actual PC copy after my brother suggested it. The computer which I use today doesn't have a disc insert slot, unfortunately, so now I'm currently hoping that the Steam port will get implemented soon. My first experience with the Carnivores games was back in the fall of 2007. I was probably 8 or so years old when I got a copy of Carnivores 2 for my birthday. Me and my cousins booted up the game and hunted some herbivores. But when we had gotten enough points to hunt the Allosaurus, none of us had the balls to do it. It took us a month to build up the courage to hunt the Allo, and once we did, and he charged at us, we immediately ran out of the room screaming and crying.
Honestly, man, mobile ports, that was where I got introduced to carnivores. I had like a Kindle Fire and I played the heck out of the mobile port when I was like 12, a little older than that, like 14, let's say. And my little brother also had as well, and probably my most fondest memory from like the mobile ports of the Carnivores games, Ice Age and all that, was I think it was like trying to find Bigfoot in the regular mobile port. That was one of them. And overall just coming up with like theories about, I remember that some of the maps had like a salmon fortress or something like that, and I was like, oh, let's go find Bigfoot there. But man, gotta say, that was my favorite part of playing the mobile ports. Just trying to explore the lore and trying to hunt for Bigfoot on a game that he wasn't even on yet.
I first discovered Carnivores 5 years ago when my neighbor Tim was going through a box of his old games. Within the box was Carnivores, Jurassic Park Trespasser, and Carnivores Cityscape. I played all 3 games for hours after I'd get out of school, and I'd binge play Carnivores almost all Saturday night to gather enough points to finally unlock the T-Rex. And after several attempts, I managed to bag a Rex that was 17 tons and 68 feet long. I watched Carnivores videos, mainly exclusively the original trilogy, at around the age of 6. I watched them even after 7, when I played on the mobile ports on my Kindle, and they quickly became my favorite game on mobile. I only had a Wii and a PS2 at the time, as well as an old laptop, so it was one of the only games of its kind I had. I had a lot of memories, exploring the maps, running away, or closing the app when I died, or when I was about to be dead out of fear. It wasn't until 2 years ago when I found your channel and got hooked. 2 years later, I know the history of Carnivores, its rather small but loyal community, and its awesome mods. Just saying, Poha's mods are my favorites. Triassic and Carnivores Plus, top notch. I'm now proud to say that I know plenty about Carnivores history. I hang out on the Discord a lot, and I know some basic skills. Hope to see them grow in impressiveness as time goes by. I'm certainly impressed with how long it's lasted, and that it will reach its 20th anniversary soon.
Carnivores. What can I say about this game? Let's start off with how I found out about the game, shall we? Okay, so I found out about this game back in like 2010, 2011, yeah? When I saw this video on YouTube about the sound effect of each creature from Carnivores 1 and 2, yeah? And then I simply forgot about the game for about 2 years, so I came back to it in like 2014, and then I was like, oh yeah, that video again, and then I watched it and then I found out a while after, not too long after, I was like, wait, this is a game? And it's for mobile? Oh, hold on then. And then I got it. Yeah. And now, I would like to share with you a few moments that I clearly remember and will forever stay in my mind with this game. Here we go. Both of these involve Allosaurus, by the way. So there was this one time when I was hunting a T-Rex, yeah, and then I am aiming at it, okay? I'm aiming at the T-Rex, and the second I shoot and kill it, an Allosaurus came from behind me and killed me. There was also this one time when I spawned in, just spawned in. The second I spawned in, there was an Allosaurus in front of me and he killed me again. Well, that was actually before the other one, but yeah.
My most fond memories of Carnivores began when I was little, like many of us. I was with my dad at a Fry's electronics store in Phoenix, Arizona, waiting in the checkout line with our items when suddenly, on one of the shelves, Carnivores Ice Age immediately caught my eye. Then I begged my father to get this game and got it from the store with our purchases. We installed it, and I watched my dad hunt the mammals and birds of the Arctic sector, since, at the time, I was too frightened to hunt these beasts myself. Like you, Saurian Target. Eventually, I got the courage to hunt the animals of the far north, and experience the chills and thrills of hunting the legendary and elusive Yetis. Furthermore, Carnivores will always be a part of me, official and modded. Happy 20th anniversary. I first got into Carnivores due to two infamous YouTubers, Best in Slot and Saurian Target. In late 2015, we discovered Best in Slot's channel, and shortly after, watched a Let's Play on Carnivores Cityscape. It looked like a fun game, and while doing research on it, I discovered the Carnivores Wiki. I learned about the original trilogy, mobile ports, reboots, dinosaurs, areas, and so on. Then, one random summer afternoon, I discovered a small YouTube channel called Saurian Target. I thought it would be worth checking out, and it changed the way I viewed Carnivores forever. Thanks to you, I discovered the various mods created for the game, learned about the community legends like Poharex, the top 5 lists, the challenges and cinematics. I will never forget the day I first watched your showcase of Carnivores Triassic, or started getting into Primal Prey because of your own Primal Play. I now absolutely adore Carnivores, and always keeping up with mods, the community, canon, and the ever-growing list of creatures of FMMUV32. And you were and are a big part of all that happening. The first Carnivores-related media I ever got was, surprisingly, Carnivores The Middle Islands in late 2016. I loved the look of the dinosaurs in Cityscape, but also loved the more classical style of the originals. After watching your showcase, I knew this would be something special. Today, my growing collection of official games and mods would never have come to be without you, and sincerely hope that your channel provides both information and inspiration for many more people in the years to come. Oh, guys, my heart!
Hi, my name's Drew, and I'm doing this because I love carnivores. When I was little, my parents were in a store that doesn't exist anymore, and they saw a game with a T-Rex on it. They thought it'd be perfect for me since I love dinosaurs. So as soon as they bring it home, I start playing this game and I fall in love with it. It was on a Windows 95, very old computer. I start hunting a herbivore and I see our carnivore in the distance. It's an Allosaurus. So I take a shot at it and I miss. I see it running at me and I hear that noise for it's like pouncing on you and then the death animation, and it really scared me. So I ran out the room and I wouldn't go back in until my dad put me back at the hunt menu. So anytime a T-Rex or Allosaurus or Velociraptor, if I missed that shot, I just ran out the room. And it got to the point where the only map I would hunt on was Ancient Temple, because if you got in the middle of the map, there was a giant temple that nothing could get into unless it really glitched out. And it's the only place I felt safe playing the game. So the first Carnivores to me is kind of scary even to this day, but I still love it because of that. For Carnivores 2, I remember being in the same store that we got Carnivores 1 in, and I remember seeing that amazing pop-up art on the box. I haven't been able to find a good picture of it since, but I remember that moment standing in the store looking at it. And as soon as we got home, I remember the 95 computer we had, it wasn't good enough to run Carnivores 2, so we ended up later that week going out and buying a Windows 98. So Carnivores 2 is the reason we upgraded computers, so I guess that was a good thing. But my favorite memory in the game was the first time I hunted T-Rex. I don't know how many people have played Carnivores 1, but there could only be a max of 3 T-Rexes on the map, and I could barely hunt one in the Ancient Temple because it was a safe spot. And seeing 20 of them on the map just seemed impossible, so for a very long time I never hunted T-Rex. So Carnivores 2, it was kind of gated content for a long time just because I refused to hunt T-Rex on it. Carnivores Ice Age is my least favorite in the trilogy, mainly because I like dinosaurs more than ancient mammals, but it still has a special place in my heart. I remember getting Carnivores Ice Age and a old style T-Rex bookshelf like holder, and it was the last thing my grandmother got me before she died, and I always remember just playing that game and using her old computer, getting that like nostalgic feel for like a Windows 98, playing Carnivores Ice Age, and just it was like a very special Christmas to me, and it's something I'll always remember. So it's Carnivores 20th anniversary, and I still love all 3 in the trilogy. I love the mobile port. I even like the Steam game, so hopefully this is to another 20 years of enjoying Carnivores. Thank you.
I got introduced to Carnivores when Dinosaur Hunter came out. My parents went to a game with some friends, so my brother and I stayed at their house with their kids. I remember when one of them got on their iPad and started playing Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter. I watched her play the game and wanted the game so much. I loved dinosaurs and still do today, and that's why I wanted the game. Sadly, after that day, I forgot what the game was called and completely forgot about the game in general. About 3 to 4 years later, I ran into Saurian Target's videos. When I saw the thumbnail and read the title, I was excited. I finally remembered the name of a game that I forgot about and wanted to play so badly. I watched the video and opened the App Store, immediately downloading Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter. After that day, I've never stopped playing the game. I've also never stopped watching Saurian Target. You guys are gonna make me cry. I was first introduced to the Carnivores franchise several years ago when I downloaded an older build of the mobile game Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter. Though I didn't have everything in the game unlocked at that time, probably just 3 or 4 dinosaurs, 2 of the maps, and 2 of the weapons, I still thoroughly enjoyed playing it to my heart's content. Ever since playing Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter for the first few times, I decided to do some research on the game, and found that there was also a variation of the app game with Cenozoic animals, as well as the original computerized versions of the games they were based off of. Never in 65 million years did I think that would eventually lead me to be drawn into this currently alive and thriving fan base that honors and shows a great deal of respect toward a series of old dinosaur hunting games from the late 1990s and early 2000s. And I never would have thought that you could actually create amazing and intriguing mods out of said games to continue its story and legacy. Sadly, it's a bit of a shame that the Carnivores franchise is so underrated, even by today's standards. So I'm trying the best I can to contribute to the community as possible. Also, I have you, Saurian Target, to thank, because it was mostly your excellently crafted Carnivores-oriented videos that really helped pull me into this community. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Happy 20th anniversary, Carnivores. By this point, most of you guys have probably heard my story of how I got into Carnivores. My uncle got me Carnivores 2 as a birthday present in the summer of 2000, the first video game I ever owned. The next summer, we went to Toys R Us and found Carnivores Ice Age, and for both games, I spent most of the time anxiously watching my uncle hunt over his shoulder and running out of the room when a dinosaur attacked, something he still brings up to this day. My cousin and I both got a copy of Carnivore Cityscape for Christmas of 2002. I didn't get to play it because it didn't work on my computer, but it did work on my cousin's, and I remember hours of conversations we had together with the phone on speaker, with me playing Carnivores 2 and him playing Cityscape, telling me all about it, and just having a great time together. Finally, in the spring of 2004, I ordered the original Carnivores. My brother and I were playing outside in the backyard, and it arrived in a FedEx truck. Still remember it crystal clear to this day. I even still have the letter I wrote to WizardWorks. They wrote a reply on it and returned it with my copy. Of course, I got the Carnivores mobile ports as soon as I could. I even bought an old iPod Touch off someone at school. I was so desperate to play them. Getting to bring Carnivores on the go with a modern device was so cool. And when I was younger, every new update had me so excited. Still in disbelief that my favorite game from when I was a kid was getting updates to this day. And when I found out that Carnivores was getting a modern day, next-gen remake, guys, I freaking lost my mind. Like, my third week ever at university, I got back from my last class of the day, exhausted. I was gonna sneak in a nap before dinner, hopped on Facebook, and found that first teaser trailer for Carnivores HD. Man, I don't think I slept at all that night. I just watched that trailer over and over and over again. And then in 2015, when Carnivores Reborn happened, you bet I backed that Kickstarter, got the game day one, and adored the heck out of my boxed collector set. And then, about a year later, after Carnivores had risen and fallen so many times, I was left pretty disappointed. The beloved franchise from my childhood, with so much potential, had gotten my hopes up so many times in recent years, only to let me down hard. So, instead of just waiting around for the next big Carnivores content to come out, I decided to do something about it myself. I started a little side project that people seem to really enjoy watching, that I really enjoy making, and I hope to keep doing so for as long as I can. And now, here we are, almost 20 years later for some of us, coming together to share our experiences about the games that we grew up with and love. Wow. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of this incredible journey with me. I honestly wasn't sure if I'd get enough submissions to make this video worthwhile when I came up with the idea, and you guys just blew all my expectations clear out of the water. Shame on me for my lack of faith. I really wanted to use every single one of your stories in this video, But good grief, we'd be here for hours if I included them all. I'm not even kidding, I got well over 100 submissions. Thank you, thank you, thank you to every single one of you who sent in a story, a piece of artwork, a submission of any kind. I loved reading them all. And thank you all for all of the kind words you sent my way too. That means so much more to me than you guys know. And I'm sorry I couldn't reply to every submission, I just got so many, and I didn't want to start sounding repetitive and insincere. So I just wanted to wait until now to thank you all. And I do, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. This has been an amazing experience. Every story, every video, every piece of artwork, I have sat here with the biggest, dumbest smile on my face. To think that we can all come together as a community, united around something we love, and share our history together in celebration. This has been one of the most fun projects I've ever worked on. Not just this video, but this channel. Watching it grow, meeting new people, becoming friends with the legends from my childhood, getting to share experiences so similar to mine. It's just awesome. What started out as just a fun little video project I thought I'd try on a slow Saturday afternoon has turned into one of the most important parts of my life. And I am so grateful to you guys for making that happen. Carnivores is still alive today because of you guys, the community, for keeping it alive with your passion. And for that, I thank you. Thank you for your participation in this celebration video. I just cannot express enough how amazing your involvement has been. I had a lot of other videos planned for today, but of course, life got in the way. I had tons of projects and events come up, so I couldn't get them released by today, but I will be releasing them over the next few days as I complete them. And I've also got a long overdue but special announcement at the end of this video that, at this point, some of you may no longer care about, but some of you might be very excited to hear, so stay tuned for that. You guys are absolutely, without a doubt, 100% the best. Now get out there and go hunt some dinosaurs, and I will see you guys next time. Happy 20th birthday, Carnivores. Here's to 20 more.
Mind you, this cliff is like almost at height max. Oh my god.